Water good. So here we are Friday. It's about that time again. A lot of Fridays about this time I'm driving from one place to another place. So we get to chat. Today, let's chat about hard. Pick your hard. There's a lot of things in life that are hard. And really, you need to pick what hard do you want? What do you want hard in your life? Being poor is hard. Being broke is hard. Working 2 jobs, working 70 hours a week is hard. Working full time and going to school is hard. There's a lot of hard things. Life is hard. Working full time, building a business, your own business, is hard. Starting a business in a niche market is hard. Doing a whole bunch of those at the same time while most of your friends and family talk smack about you because they don't get what you're doing is hard. What kind of hard do you want in your life? Something? Do you want to be educated? Do you not want to go that route? Do you want to do physical labor? What kind of challenges do you want in your life? Because life isn't easy. Life is hard. And as a lot of people are realizing these days, life is completely unfair. But that's completely irrelevant. Whether it's fair or not, you still got to deal with the hard. What kind of hard do you want? A lot of people don't realize that all of those I just listed, I've done over the last decade. Some of them I'm still doing. There's a lot of hard. But a lot of people don't realize that I learned a whole lot of stuff over the last decade, and I've got pieces of paper that put letters before and after your name that mean important things. I don't use them normally. I don't like using titles because it skews people's perception. It's like looking through a lens. Before you even get to talk about anything, it's like when you use a title, they automatically think about it in a certain way. It's like putting on colored glasses and then looking at something. Everything's yellow. Everything's rose-colored. Everything's different than if you just looked at it plainly. And that's why I don't like using titles. Now, granted, half the people wouldn't understand what the letters stand for before or after my name. Some groups of people would understand one set of letters, and some people would understand another set of letters. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. It was probably a few years ago, talking with one of my siblings. We were going through one of these phases of hard, and he suggested I start my own landscaping business. Told me I'll hate my work every day of my life, but I'll make bank. And he's not wrong. But do you want that kind of hard? I don't want that hard. Ironically, my day job is in landscaping now, but it's at a totally different capacity. And it's hard. But for different reasons. It's a different kind of hard. I find in this new season, I'm trying to think how to word this here. It's a different hard. Let's say I feel my age. And not just because I've abused my body doing a lot of hard things over the years. Been wearing a wrist brace the last few days because I couldn't hardly bend my wrist because I've done a lot of hard work. But not so much because of that. Let's say I feel my age. Because in current capacity, everything is a teachable moment. Everything I do is a teachable moment for people. My job is equally as much teaching people as it is doing my job. I realize how much people don't know. How much a lot of people, their wisdom and education falls in one little niche, and that's what they know and that's what they do. And expanding out of that is something that they don't really think about as much. Or if they do think about it, they don't really pursue it to actively learn. Your education and wisdom in life should be like a revolving door, where you bring it in, you learn it, you do it, and then you teach it back out. If you can't teach it, you don't know it. You know of it, you know about it, but until you can actually teach it in a way that people can understand and learn from, you don't actually know it. Over this last decade of working 70 hours a week or so and going to school, part of that starting a new business over the last several years, building that up. There's been a lot of learning and doing. And now I'm in a spot where it's a whole lot more teaching. It's mildly amusing. So there's a lot of stuff probably that I took for granted that other people know, that other people should know. This is basic stuff. And I realized that basic stuff is not basic to everybody. I had a friend a while back remind me that not everybody has the same capacity. And I realized how very true that is. Not everybody has the same capacity. Not everybody has the same capacity for patience, for endurance, for being productive, for listening. Not everybody has the same capacity to do the hard things. And life is full of the hard things. Not everybody wants to have a greater capacity for a lot of these things. I mean, most of us probably don't want to have a greater capacity to endure pain. Although, unfortunately, I think mine is more than it should be. Not everybody wants to increase their capacity to care about others. Not everybody wants to increase their capacity to work harder, to see the bigger picture. Not everybody wants to increase their capacity to be productive. A lot of people are content with where they are. And they're content with the hard that they have to deal with. Do you know how you increase your capacity? By doing. By doing the hard things. By allowing yourself to be in situations where things are extremely difficult. Whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of them. To allow yourself to be stretched beyond the capacity of what you can endure. Excuse me. By allowing yourself to be stretched beyond the capacity of what you can do. By allowing yourself to do what you didn't believe was possible. You learn and you do. And your capacity for this increases. I'm seeing more and more a lot of people whose capacity for these things is very small. People that don't want to reach real far beyond the comfortable. People that don't want to reach real far beyond what they know and understand. People that are comfortable with what they know, what they believe, what they do, and are not real willing to go beyond that, to be pushed, to be pulled, to expand the capacity to a greater point. Now, I grew up, think about how to word that one. Very unusual circumstances. My capacity to do and to endure was stretched immensely. We'll put it that way. Stretched immensely. Growing up and working, I specialized in, doing the hard things. The things that other people can't or won't do. And as a result, most people, even these days, don't understand what it is I actually do. And a lot of that is because they don't really care that much. A lot of people don't have the capacity to earnestly want to know what other people do, what is going on in other people's life, the compassion and I'm trying to pick my words somewhat carefully here. The amount that people care about those around them. The amount that people care about bigger things. The amount that people care about their capacity. Their capacity to understand the breadth and the depth of the bigger picture, of what's going on around them, of the people around them. How much do we get stuck in our small world, in our small bubble, and how much do we allow ourselves to be stretched outside it, past our beliefs and past our understanding, not just to hear the beliefs and understanding of others, but to actually understand things that we disagree with, things that we didn't understand, things that are much farther beyond us. How much do we allow ourselves to that? And how much do we want to stay in our comfort zone? I currently work about 60 to 70 hours a week on average. Some weeks a little less, some weeks a bit more, but on average it's about 60 to 70 hours a week. And that is only because I've got someone helping in the shop that's putting in 20-something hours a week. So you do the math and figure out how much I've been working the last few years. That is more capacity than a lot of people are willing to do. But at what cost? And what are we working towards? What is the goal? Because a dream without a plan, or a goal without a plan, is just a dream. We've been building things, as in a business, and we've been building and doing and working in a direction on a plan for a while now. And you know, when you do that, and most of your friends and family around you don't have the capacity or desire to understand, that can be hard. But understanding that ultimately, whether or not other people are willing to understand and stretch their capacity to something bigger is quite irrelevant. Sticking to your morals and beliefs, and as some would say, your creed, understanding what you do and doing what you do because it's the right thing to do, regardless of whether or not anyone around you cares to understand, can be hard. Reminds me of several years ago, I was doing a bunch of stuff to help some people, and Ilea asked me, like, do they even realize, do the people around you realize how much you put into helping other people, how much you put into helping these people in need? And I'm not talking about one kind of need or another kind of need, a little bit need or a big need. There's a lot of stuff. But she asked that, and I had to think about it for a moment. Like, you know what? They have no clue. People call and they need help, and I show up and help because it's what I do. But do people realize how much of my life I would rearrange and juggle things around to help people when they need help? For the most part, no. And does that matter? No. If you help people so that they can understand how much you help them, you missed the point. You do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. You stretch your ability. You stretch your capacity. Or I should say, you allow yourself to be stretched. You allow yourself your capacity to be stretched. Because it is the right thing to do. You do the hard things. You don't just take for granted the hard things everyone around you does. Turning into a little bit of a rant here, but do the hard things. Life is full of hard things. Life is hard. What hard things do you want in your life? If we've got one life and one go around on this, what is it that you want to do? And not just what do you want to do for fun. What hard things do you want to do? What problems do you want to address? What kind of pain do you want in your life? I'm not talking bad pain. Pain commonly is associated with bad things. But that's not necessarily true. You know how your muscles grow? Yeah, you exercise them. But you literally rip the fibers of your muscles apart, and they heal, and you are stronger. Your capacity to lift heavy things increases. Your capacity to do hard things increases. But are you willing? Do you suffer hard things with a bitter and resentfulness? Or do you embrace the hard things in life? Are you going through hard things? Anyway, it reminds me, embrace the suck. Embrace it. Learn from it. Grow. Increase your capacity. It will make you a better, stronger person. It will make you a more capable person. But a word of caution: don't let it make you a calloused person. And I'll speak from experience on this one. In my, we'll say, unusual upbringing, I am someone who cares very much about people around me. I am someone who has done lots of things for people around me that most people will never know about. But because I am a person that cares earnestly for those around me, there was a period of time when, in order to survive, I had to learn how to turn the feelings off. As in feelings and emotions off. Like a light switch. Click. I feel nothing. That was my coping mechanism for a long time. I feel nothing. That is extremely dangerous. Within that lies a root cause of a lot of things people do in life that mess up their lives. We're not going to go into that very much right now. Or I'll try not to go in that right now. But within that, the coping mechanisms, you got to watch out for coping mechanisms. That was something that took me a very, very long time to work through. And it's mildly humorous now when I look back over it and how the Lord walked me through it and different things and stuff that made absolutely no sense. And people wouldn't believe. Tell them about certain things and didn't believe it. It's like, oh, that's nice. Or a kind of response. But I look back on it and think, that's because you didn't have the whole picture. You didn't see the big picture. And you didn't understand what God was doing. Walking me through step by step by step. And those of you who've, let's say those of you who've gone to counseling and worked through things, kind of understand what I'm talking about. Being walked through step by step. So when you're being stretched, make sure that you are being stretched and your capacity is increasing, not you are shutting down and you are growing numb to it, because that is a destructive way. That is not increasing your capacity to deal with things and increasing your capacity to do things. That is actually decreasing it under the masquerade of increasing it. Crazy how that works, huh? But here's my 2 cents for today. Increase your capacity. Be willing to do the hard things, even though they are hard. Embrace them. Don't shy or shun away from hard. Life is hard. The greater capacity you have to do, to endure, to persevere, to see through to the end, the greater your capacity is, the better it will go for you. And that that's not quite all, folks. That is on the physical and mental planes, without even getting into the spiritual much today. We'll just share a little bit of wisdom on that. On the spiritual side, don't shun away when God stretches you. Understand the difference between walking with the Lord and knowing about the Lord. And if you don't know the difference, I encourage you to seek the Lord. Push closer and listen. Be willing I got banana blueberry bread here. And they were selling this outside the gas station for a cause. I had some cash and I bought some banana blueberry banana blueberry bread. That was because I wanted it. See this one here? This one's jalapeno cornbread. Jalapeno cornbread. This one is because I was willing and I listened. And we're not going to go into that. I know it's like a total teaser. It's like, this, here it is. But I ain't telling you. Being willing to be put outside your comfort zone and being willing to go where the Lord leads you will increase your capacity on multiple levels. So, I hope you got something out of that today. Sharing a little of my heart and my thoughts on this drive from place to place. So, until next time, I bless you. Shalom.